But the other feature is camera control. So there's actually a new button on the iPhone on the side where you hold your phone like a normal camera. So you press and hold it, it opens the camera, takes the photo. You press and hold, it then lets you get into your zoom and the exposure and all those little settings. And so the key is tactile. So you can it's touch sensitive. So you can slide your finger up and down to access the features. A half press gets you to another set of features. So the camera on the iPhone camera is the most popular camera in the world. Right. So it's in their best interests,
including special cameras, like standalone cameras.
More people take photos with an iPhone than any other product in the world.
Just wanted to clarify that.
So them making that experience better is in their best interest. The customer's going to think, okay, I need to have a look at this.
Yeah.
So a smart new addition, I think, to the phone. It goes on sale on Friday.
Apart from professionals, does anyone just buy a camera these days?
Some do, digital SLRs are very popular. SLRs still,
Okay.
Little compact mirrorless cameras too are very popular too. I've got a couple of Sony A series cameras.
On GoPros, of course, or things like GoPros. Yeah.
They're still very popular. But your phone is there with you all the time. Like my trip to Europe for 6 weeks, every photo was taken with my iPhone. And people were saying, what are you using to take your photos? It's my iPhone I'm taking. So
it's interesting. Just further to that point, I was only saying to my wife the other day, we were watching it was one of the David Attenborough more recent documentaries, and I just said, hasn't the drone revolutionised filmmaking?
Oh, yeah.
Not just documentaries, but motion pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Hollywood.
A lot of them are shot with drones.
Yeah. And they get some pretty cool stuff.
Oh, some amazing. I'm actually licensed drone pilot over here. I've got my drone license. I own.
Is that more complicated
drones
than piloting a helicopter?
Not as complicated, but you need. It's all about safety. It's all about knowing how it's safe to use. Like 70% of the course was all about safety.
Yes.
So operating away from people and buildings and being not near airports and stuff like that. So
I believe my son flew a drone in Cuba.
Did he really?
He was over there a couple of years ago.
Whoa.
Yeah, he went to a US
is he still
tour
there,
with his mate. No, he's still. He got back, and so did the drone.
There you go. I took a drone with me to. I didn't take it on this trip. I'm kicking myself. I never took it to Europe, but I did take it to the US one time. Little 249 gram drone, the DJI Mini, and being under 250 grams means you can fly it anywhere responsibly.
Yeah.
But you don't. If it's over 250, you can't fly within 5 k's of an airport and all this sort of stuff. And so that was handy to have. It fits in the palm of your hand, really good. Still shoots 4K video, beautiful. But it's one of those things that it's gotten better and better, smaller and smaller. Yet the quality is getting higher and higher.
This is an interesting question from Mark. Hasn't the iPhone had some sort of AI for a while now? Funnily, you should say that, Mark, because we were talking about this in the break. He says, if I get a call from a number that I haven't saved to my contacts, I quite often see the number displayed with maybe Bill or maybe Ben. I've had that too, Mark.
That is, you're right, because that's what I call background AI.
Right.
It's more machine learning is what it is.
Okay.
So machine learning is your phone sees you doing several things and it learns, okay, that's what he or she likes to do.
Yep.
That's normally what they do, and it learns from that experience. So based on your reaction, it learns from that. So that's been in the background for years. And Apple have said that. Apple Intelligence is new, but the phones had a flavour of AI for many years. So that's absolutely right.
How far? Yeah. I mean, how far is it going to go? You've probably been to expos and things where they've talked about what's in development.
Oh yeah. Well, AI is only going to get better. And the more we teach it,
how do you mean better?
You got to remember though. You got to remember, AI is only as smart as the data we feed it. So this thing that Skynet is going to become self-aware and take over the world. Yeah. That's very slim possibility of that ever happening, because we're still in charge with what the AI has to use as its data source. So if it's as smart or as dumb as we make it, and that it uses the data at its disposal to make its decisions and to come up with what it comes up with.
How about something less dramatic but perhaps more damaging? The way we consume information. Yeah. And this relates to, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to take you down a political path here, but for very obvious reasons, and we know that governments are looking at this.
Yeah.
And look, the whole disinformation on Facebook thing, we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
We're talking about how information is presented and disseminated.
Yeah, well, I'm talking too, like the deep fakes and the copying, being able to copy someone's likeness and someone's voice. That's the real danger. We're seeing, I think, there's court cases going on right now where celebrities have had their likeness and voices copied using AI, and you don't know whether that's real. I remember one time about a year and a half ago, when Trump was in court he was threatened to be arrested on for some charge. I remember looking on, I think it was on Twitter. It was called Twitter back then, before it was called X, and there was a picture of Donald Trump being dragged into the street by police. I'm thinking, holy hell, that's amazing, that photo. Turned out it was AI generated. It wasn't real.
Totally fake.
So I'm thinking, well, geez, I thought, wow. I tried to look on legit websites. It was nowhere to be seen. I'm thinking, someone's made that up.
Yep.
That's the problem, is us thinking what's real, what's not. And to talk about what Elon Musk said about Albanese's crack about it, he's calling us a fascist for wanting there to be some kind of monitor for misinformation.
Yeah.
Like, there is an election in like less than 100 days in America that could decide the fate of the world.
Yes.
We need facts. We need this to be, what we see online, to be factual.
And the sad part is we're all, or a lot of us anyway, are time critical, and we literally
don't check.
cannot afford to go and do the things that journalists do by trade, or supposed to do by trade. Let's not go down that road either.
I reckon this plays into the hands of the 2GBs and the Channel 9s of the world, legit news sources, where people will need to go to those trusted sources to see what's true. Like, I went to Nine's website, I went to 2GB's website after I saw the Trump photo. Nothing to be seen on those websites, so I knew it must be fake. It's AI generated.
But even the trusted news sites are going to have to be careful, because occasionally stuff slips through there. Yeah. And look, I'm not suggesting about this network or any other network in particular, but it can happen. Mistakes are made.
Yeah.
And people do things hastily. And but as long as there are mechanisms in place to identify those mistakes and clarify them as soon as possible, and not just run with it. Now, this is on all that. George has sent a text asking your opinion regarding AI eating itself. Not sure what he means there exactly, but
look, AI is, as I said, as good as we want to make it, and it learns from what we're doing. So it learns it's got our contacts, it's got our calendar. It tries to help us in that regard. In terms of, I think a feature that many people are going to use with Apple Intelligence is rewriting or spell checking texts. Like, I'm a bit OCD when I